Good day once again, guys. Good day, everyone. Once again, thank you guys for being part of the session today. Hope everyone is doing well. Uh, and welcome to those who've just joined the meeting. Kindly let me know, guys, by a show of a thumbs up if I'm audible enough, if you can hear me, as well as if you can see the screen that I'm sharing, which says Project Management Lesson Number 5, which is Cost Management Plans. Kindly let me know if you are able to see that screen that I'm sharing before we continue, as well as if you can hear me, so that I know that I'm not talking to myself and if you guys can hear me. Okay, thank you, Jacqueline, for the thumbs up. Okay, thank you for that reaction, Jacqueline. Hope everyone else can also hear me and also can see the slide that I'm sharing. Okay, so I'll be going through with the slides. And mind you, guys, I'm recording the session so that anyone who probably will need the recording, I'll be able to send it to them, or you'll be able to receive it via your Teams app. Okay, so I'll be going through with the slides firstly, and then we'll be going through the formative assessment, the summative assessment, as well as the workplace activities. Okay, and then just know that I will just not rush through the slides without giving you guys a fair chance, maybe to ask questions. Maybe there's something you want us to revise on, or anything of that matter. Okay, and also know that there'll be some people who are still joining in, so I'll be going a bit back and forth, maybe pausing here and there just to check if there's other people who are still joining the meeting, so I don't make them wait too long in the lobby. Okay, so with that being said, guys, welcome to lesson number 5 for project management, level 5. So let us go through with the slides. Okay, so as we can see here, slide number 1, today we will be discussing a cost management plans. Okay, so going through to the next slide, as you guys are going to notice that lesson number 5 is relatively short. I should have maybe scheduled this meeting to be an hour or an hour 30 minutes, but then I don't think it's going to last us the entire 2 hours. But then let's just go through the slides, guys. Okay, so we'll be going through the warm-up. Let's skip that first slide, and then here is the welcome note. So the welcome note says a cost management plan is defined as being outlines uh, as being outlines the strategies, procedures, and guidelines for estimating, allocating, and controlling costs within a project or organization. The primary objective of a cost management plan is to ensure that the project or organization can be complete its activities within the defined budget and financial constraints. Okay, so basically, cost management plan is a plan that helps you manage money for a project or a business. And why is this cost management plan important? Because it makes sure that you stay within budget and avoid spending too much. Okay, and then the key elements which you need to consider when we are talking about a cost management plan is the strategies, procedures, and guidelines for estimating costs, allocating money, as well as controlling the spending. Okay, so in simpler terms, a cost management plan is like a roadmap for your money. It helps you know how much you need, where to spend it, and how to keep track of your spending. Okay, so with that being said, we might as well move on to the next slide. Why is cost management plan important? I've briefly also just touched based on that. I said it makes sure that you stay within the budget and avoid spending too much. Okay, it's basically it. Okay, why is cost management important? It's also here a diagram explaining to us briefly the scope, the budget cost, as well as the time schedule, so that you don't overspend within that given amount of time for that certain project. So you don't overspend your money on a certain project. You stay within a budget. Okay. So with that being said, let's move on to the next slide. The next slide talks about cost estimates. Okay. So cost estimates are the approximate projections of the expenses required to complete a project, activity, or task. A cost estimate typically involves an evaluation of the resources needed to achieve the desired outcome, such as labor, materials, equipment, and other expenses. So, cost estimates can be used in various contexts, such as project planning, budgeting, and financial analysis. Okay, so basically, a cost estimate is a guess about how much something will cost, and they are important because they help you plan your budget and avoid spending too much. Okay, remember the main topic is still cost management plan. Okay, and then how to estimate. So you must think about the things you need, like labor, materials, equipment, as well as their costs. So in simpler terms, guys, cost estimates are like a budget for your project. They help you figure out how much money you need to spend. Okay. So with that being said, there's also some acronyms here at the bottom for us, which is the ROM, rough order magnitude, budget estimates, and definitive estimates. Let's not delve much into those. Let's just move on to the next slide. Okay. And then here they talk about the process of developing cost estimates, which is firstly number one, you must identifying the project scope and objectives. Um, so here you must understand the project, know what you are trying to do. Okay, then you must defining the project requirements and specifications. So you must figure out what you'll need to complete the project, as well as the necessity. So identify the necessary resources and their associated costs. So you must find out how much each thing will cost. Okay. So that is a simple slide to understand. So we can well as move on to the next slide. The process of developing cost estimates, you must quantify, calculate, review, as well as monitor. So when they talk about quantifying the amount of resources required for each activity, calculate is calculating the total cost for each activity and the project as a whole. And then for review, which is number 6, is reviewing and validating the estimates with stakeholders. Okay. And then to monitor is monitoring and updating the estimates throughout the project life cycle. So those are self-explanatory. I didn't see much of a need to delve much into these explanations. So without any waste of your guys' time, I think we can simply just move on to the next slide. So the next slide talks about budgeting and cost allocation. Okay, so budgeting and cost allocation are closely related to cost estimates in project management. Cost estimates provide the basis for developing budgets and allocating costs to specific project activities or cost centers. And budgeting involves the process of creating a financial plan for a project. Okay, so the connection to estimates is that cost estimates help create budgets. And what is budgeting? Basically, it's planning how much money to spend on a certain project. So we all know what that is. Budgeting. Everyone that has a certain budget over here. So I'm sure everyone is well aware of what budgeting is. So in simpler terms, budgeting is like creating a spending plan for your project based on the estimated costs. Okay, it's as simple as that. So when we move on to the next slide, we are still talking about budgeting and cost allocation part 2. So it says cost allocation is the process of assigning or distributing cost to specific activities or cost centers within the project or organization. And then cost estimates are used to determine the amount of resources required for each activity or cost center. and the cost allocation process is used to distribute those costs appropriately. So the purpose of cost allocation is to ensure that each activity or cost center bears the appropriate share of the total project costs and that the costs are assigned to the project cost objective. Okay, as you can see there, it's also self-explanatory. It's basically what we were talking about not so long ago. Can I quickly accept someone who's at the lobby? So it basically still defines what we already discussed when we said cost estimates help you create a budget as well as planning how much money to spend on a certain project. Okay. So that being said, we might as well move on to the next slide, which is still on budgeting and cost allocation. So here we have been given an example. It says if a project involves the construction of a building, the cost estimates would include the cost of materials, labor, equipment, and other expenses required to complete the construction. The budget for the project would be developed based on these cost estimates, and the cost allocation process would be used to assign those costs to specific activities or cost centers, such as foundation construction, framing, roofing, electrical, and plumbing. Okay, so here we've been giving how in the things that you will need to budget for when you are constructing a business. Okay, or rather constructing a building. Sorry. So with that example been given to us, I think it's simple and clear to understand what budgeting is for a certain project. Okay. So with that being said, we can quickly move on to the next slide. So the next slide talks about cost control procedures. So cost control procedures are the measures and processes used to monitor, track, and manage project costs to ensure that they remain within the allocated budget and financial constraints. Okay, so cost control is like the process of keeping costs within a budget. Okay, and how it works is that monitoring spending, tracking progress, and making adjustments. Okay, so in simpler terms, guys, cost control is like making sure you don't spend too much money on your project. You need to watch your spending and make changes if necessary. Okay, so that is basically what cost control procedures are. Okay, so before I move on to the next slide, can I quickly accept someone? And then I see that Mr. Jerome Stevens has their hand up. Okay, Mr. Stevens, I will give you the opportunity to go ahead with your question or your suggestion or input. The platform is yours, sir.
Good day, sir. No, I just wanted to inform you that me and Mrs. Klassen is available.
Oh, okay, not a problem,
Yeah.
sir. So you guys are sitting together.
Yes, we are sitting together.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you for the heads up, Mr. Jerome.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Okay, so we have dealt with slide number 13, which is cost control procedures, right? So with that being said, let's move to the next slide, which is talking about the primary goals of cost control. So the primary goal of cost control is to prevent. Number one is to prevent cost overruns. Number two is to optimize resource utilization. Then number three is to improve the project's financial performance. So, guys, the primary goal of cost control is to prevent cost overruns. Now, that is the first one. So this means keeping costs within the planned budget. So by doing so, you ensure that the project stays financially healthy and avoid unnecessary expenses. And then for point number two, which says optimize resource utilization, this simply means using resources efficiently helps you get the most out of your money. Okay. And then the third point, which is improve the project's financial performance. This means like by managing costs effectively, you can improve the overall financial health of your project. So in simpler terms, the main goal of cost control is to spend money wisely and avoid spending more than you planned. So this helps you save money and make your project more successful. Okay. So with that being said, think we are free free to go to the next slide. So the next slide is a diagram which also explains cost control procedures. As you can see from the left circle up to the circle on the right, which has variance analysis, earned value management, change control, and cost reporting. And then there is also notes inside those circles. Remember that you guys are going to be having these slides as well on your platform, so you can have a look at that definition of cost control procedures, which are given to us on those circles. Okay, don't want to delve much into those. We can just move on to the next slide. So the next slide talks about the roles and responsibilities. So cost management is a critical function in project management that involves planning, estimating, budgeting, and controlling project costs. The following are the key roles and responsibilities in cost management. So let's go here. Okay, yes, let's go here. The project manager and cost estimator. Okay, so the project manager is responsible for overall project management, including cost management. The project manager oversees the development and execution of the cost management plan and ensures that the project is delivered within the allocated budget. So the project manager also manages project resources, schedules, and risks to optimize project costs and ensure financial viability. Okay, and then the cost estimator is responsible for developing accurate cost estimates for the project. The cost estimator uses historical data, industry benchmarks, and other sources of information to ensure the resources required to complete the project activities. The cost estimator also identifies cost drivers, risks, and other factors that could impact project costs. Okay, so just to track back a little bit when we were talking about the roles and responsibilities. So, for example, the project manager oversees the entire project, including budgeting and cost control. Okay, and then the cost manager is responsible for developing and managing the cost management plan. Okay, and then we have the cost estimator, which is here on this slide number 17. So the cost estimator, guys, in simple terms, they estimate the cost of project activities and the resources. Okay, and then when we move on to this one, we have a financial analyst as well as an accountant. So a financial analyst tracks project spending, monitors budgets, and also provides financial reports. But let's take a look at what the slide says. So the slide says a financial analyst is responsible for analyzing the financial performance of the project. The financial analyst prepares financial reports, forecasts, and projections to provide insights into the project's financial health. The financial analyst also identifies potential cost savings opportunities and advises the project team on financial risks and opportunities. And then when we differentiate a financial analyst into an accountant, is that the accountant is responsible for managing project accounting and financial records. The accountant records project costs, he manages project budgets, and ensures that all financial transactions are properly documented and accounted for. The accountant also prepares financial statements, tax returns, and other financial reports required for compliance as well as recording. Okay, so that is the difference between the two, which is the financial analyst as well as an accountant. Okay, so in simpler terms, guys, just to round off everything, so these people work together to make sure the project stays within the budget. Okay, so the project manager is in charge, the cost manager plans the budget, the estimator guesses how much things will cost, and the financial analyst keeps track of the money. Okay, so that is basically what we were discussing when we are looking at the project manager, cost estimator, financial analyst, as well as the accountant. Okay. So looking at page number 19, we have the difference between a procurement manager as well as the rest of the team. So the main job for the procurement manager, guys, is just they it's to get the things the project needs. Okay, and their responsibilities are they create plans for getting suppliers, find suppliers, and negotiate the prices. Okay, and then the rest of the team, their main job is to do the work of the project, and then their responsibilities are to understand the budget, to use resources wisely, and report any problems with money or cost to the project manager. Okay, so let's take a look at what the slide says. Can I just accept someone who's in the lobby? Okay, so let's look at what the slide says. Firstly, for the procurement manager, the procurement manager is responsible for managing the project's procurement activities. The procurement manager develops procurement plans, identifies suppliers, and negotiates contracts to ensure that the project obtains the necessary resources at the best possible prices. The procurement manager also manages procurement risks and ensures compliance with procurement policies and regulations. In comparison with the rest of the team members are responsible for executing project activities efficiently and effectively. They should understand the project budget and work to optimize the use of resources while maintaining the required quality standards. They should also promptly report any potential cost issues or risks to the project manager. Okay, which is what I explained on the previous explanation. So, guys, in simpler terms, the procurement manager is in charge of buying things for the project, and the rest of the team does the actual work and needs to be aware of the budget. Okay, so that is basically it between the comparison between the procurement manager as well as the rest of the team. Okay, so let us move on to the next slide. So the next slide talks about reporting and communication. So reporting and communication are critical in cost management to ensure that project stakeholders are aware of the project costs and financial performance. Effective communication and reporting processes help project teams to make informed decisions, manage risks, and optimize resource utilization. Okay, so this is important because keeping everyone informed about the project's money situation. And how does this help? Because it makes better decisions, it manages risks, and also uses resources wisely. So it's important to tell everyone involved in the project about how the money is being spent. This helps everyone make good choices and avoid problems. Okay, so that is basically it for the slides for cost management plan. And when we go a little bit down, you're going to see a diagram which says the 6 key aspects of reporting and communication in cost management. Okay, there's reporting frequently, matrix to be reported on, and then stakeholder communication. Okay, there's also change management, risk management, and then the use of technology. Okay, so these are the key aspects of reporting and communication in cost management. As well as the next slide is also a diagram for developing a cost management report. So when you want to create or develop a cost management report, you may go about using these 6 steps. Okay, you can take a look at that when you are having the slides. I will not delve much into that that much, guys, because it's just the steps into developing a cost management plan. Okay, and the next slide says, thank you for your attention. Now let's look at the work. So guys, we will be going through with the formative assessment, the summative assessment, as well as the workplace activities. So for the sake of fairness for now, may I like to ask, is there anyone who has a certain question, any input, anything they'd like to add on? Are we all good? Are we still all on the same page? If we are, can I just get a thumbs up so that we can move on to the actual formative assessment as well as the summative? We'll be looking at the questions and the possible answers. Are we all good, guys? Are we all still on the same page? We understood those slides. Nothing was unclear to you. Are we all good? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Derricks and Alistair. Okay. With that being said, thank you, Diana. Okay, guys, let us dive into the lessons themselves. So I've just opened lesson 5, formative, where it says develop a project cost management plan for a simple to moderately complex project. Just one person, guys, just let me know if you're able to see the slide that I'm sharing, or actually the screen that I'm sharing, which says lesson 5 and has a red thingy here, develop a cost management plan. Just one person, just to confirm if they are able to see that. So that, thank you, Diana. Okay. As you can see, guys, it's a relatively short. It's a short formative. That's why I said I should have rather maybe scheduled this session to be an hour, or the most would be hour 30 minutes. But I still think we're not going to spend an hour 30 minutes on this. Lesson 5 is quite short. It's quite simple, straightforward. So that being said, guys, let's look at the questions themselves. Remember to always, you must write your name here and your ID number, okay, before you turn it in. So let's look at the actual questions. So question number 1 says, activity 1 simulation. You are required to develop a project cost management plan for a project. You may use any project of your choice. Okay. And question 1.1 says, give a brief description of the project you have chosen. So you will type in your answers here. Okay, or you'll copy and paste them there if maybe you did a search online and then now you want to copy and paste it here. So for example, you'd say I've chosen to develop a cost management plan for a home renovation project. The project involves remodeling the kitchen, bathroom, and living room, including new flooring, cabinets, appliances, and paint. Okay, so you might as well put in that answer there. So it's as simple as that. That's the kind of answer we are looking for when it comes to this question. Okay. And then question number 2, or 1.2 rather. Question 1.2 says, what benefit will be derived from having an effective cost management plan? Okay, so here we've already discussed the advantages for having an effective cost management plan. You can go back to the slides, you can go to the learner guide, or you can do your own research, especially that is going to be in connection with your answer to question 1.1 with the project that you have chosen. So for example, for 1.2, you might say an effective cost management plan will help ensure that the project stays within budget, avoid unexpected costs, and optimizes resource allocation. Okay, it will also improve project control, reduce financial risks, and also enhance overall project success. Okay, so that is the type of answer I'm looking for on this one, on question 1.2. Okay, then moving on. Sorry, I was just accepting someone who was in the lobby. So moving on to question, I think it's 1.3.1. Yeah. So moving on to question 1.3.1, it says, source relevant tools and templates to develop cost estimates. Okay, so some relevant tools and templates for developing cost estimates include a project management software like Microsoft Project, Asana, Trello, etc. Okay, so you can write that type of an answer. You can also say spreadsheets like Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. So these are also tools to develop cost estimates. Can I just accept someone? Or you can say cost estimation templates. Kindly switch off your mic, please, guys. Kindly switch off your mic as well as your camera. Don't laugh, Mr. Derek. Yes, thank you, sir, for switching off your mic. So let's discuss, continue discussing 1.3.1. So like I said, for 1.3.1, you can see project management software like Microsoft, what did I say? Microsoft Project, Asana, and Trello. Okay, so those are also tools to develop cost management estimates. You can also use spreadsheets like Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets, and then also you can use cost estimation templates, which are available online from various sources, including project management websites and also consulting firms. Okay, so that is the type of answer I'm looking for here when they say source relevant tools and templates to develop cost estimates. So whichever one that I pointed out, anyone from that is going to be okay. Obviously, you can use other examples, but I was just giving you examples that are from top of my head. Okay, like Trello, Asana, Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, Microsoft Project, or any online various sources, including cost management websites or also consulting firms. Okay, so any answer from those, you will be getting the full marks. Okay, and then we can move on to question 1.3.2. Sorry, 1.3.2, which says source relevant tools and templates to develop cost estimates. So include the completed work here. Okay, so this question requires you to actually find and use the tools and templates. Okay, so you would need to search for and download relevant templates, then fill them out with information specific to your chosen project. So the completed work would be the filled out templates. Okay, so that is basically what is required from you there. Sorry, I just needed to add someone who was on the lobby. Um, okay, sorry about that, guys. I was going back to my Teams app because I thought someone was still at the lobby. Okay, so like I said, guys, for question 1.3.2, you are required to actually find and use the tools and templates. Okay, so you must use the tools and templates which you have identified here for the tools and templates to develop cost estimates. So which is Microsoft Excel, like I said, Asana, Trello, Google Sheets, Microsoft Project, whatever that you have decided to point out here as your answer for question 1.3.1 is the tool or the template that you are going to be using to answer 1.3.2. But with 1.3.2, now you are going to be using, or rather copying and pasting your Excel spreadsheet right here as your answer. Okay, and then using the project that you have chosen, which is for question 1.1 or question 1 actually. Okay, so if you chose Excel for 1.3.1, you are gonna uh, paste an Excel spreadsheet here with a field, and then you must fill it out with information that is specific to the project that you have chosen, as well as if you chose Google Sheets or Microsoft Projects or Asana or Trello, whatever tool that you decide to use for cost estimates is the one that you are going to paste right here. Okay, so that is the end basically for the formative assessment. Okay, so now we are going to be moving on to the summative assessment. So the summative assessment, guys, is also quite short. Nothing difficult, obviously, all easy stuff. So let's just go to the questions right ahead. Remember, guys, to fill in your names as well as your ID number before you submit. Okay, so with that being said, summative questions is for 20 marks, and question 1 reads as follows: explain the purpose of implementing a cost management plan. Okay, so you can say it ensures project completion within budget and financial constraints. You can also maybe add a couple of benefits, because as you can see, it's worth 10 marks. Okay, so you can say it has a certain number of documents, or implementing a cost management plan involves the following benefits. And then you can include benefits like improved project control, reduce the risk of cost overruns. It enhances resources allocation, informed decision making, increased project transparency, as well as what else? Improved project success rates. Okay, and then maybe you can elaborate on those few pointers a little bit. Okay, just giving you an example. It doesn't really need to be exactly like that, but I'm just saying, for you to be able to get the full 10 marks, you need to make sure that the length of your answer is a reflection of the mark allocation. Okay, so with that being said, I think that one is simple enough. No one is going to have a problem there. So let's go back, let's go move forward, I mean, to the next question. So question number 2 says, list the steps you will follow in order to develop cost estimates for a project. Okay, as well as for 10 marks. So now you must list the steps. Here, I think when you go to Google or any AI tool that you are comfortable with, it's going to give you the steps which you will need to follow in order to develop a cost estimate for a project. Remember, for each and every any project, just the steps that you will need to follow, like define project scope and objectives, identify project requirements and specifications, identify necessary resources and associated costs with those resources, quantify the amount of resources required for each activity. What else? You must calculate the total cost for each activity and the project as a whole. You can review and validate the estimates with stakeholders, and then monitor and update the estimates throughout the project life cycle, stuff like that. Okay, so that is just an example which is gonna obviously score you the full 10 marks. Okay, so I think that one is also as simple as that. Nothing difficult with that question as well. So let's quickly go to the workplace activities. I think there are 3 to 4 workplace activities. There's only 3 workplace activities. Okay, so the workplace activities says based on the attached charter or brief. Okay, so question number 1 says consolidate information to develop a cost management plan. Okay, so here you must gather project details, guys. So you must collect information from the project charter or scope statement and other relevant documents. So you can use the scope statement that has been provided here earlier on. I think it was in activity 1, I mean lesson number 1, or the one that you have developed yourself. I think for summative in lesson number 1 or lesson number 2, there was a part where you were supposed to develop a project charter or project brief. So you can use that as well. You can use the for you. Okay, so either way, I'm gonna still mark you correct. So you must collect information from the project charter or scope statement or other relevant documents, and then you must identify the project activities. So meaning you must break down the project into smaller manageable tasks. Example, solar panel procurement, installation, recycling program implementation. Okay, and then you must also determine the resource requirements. So you must identify the types as well as the quantities of resources that are needed for each activity. Example, there is the labor, materials, equipment, stuff like that. Okay, so that's why it says consolidate information to develop a cost management plan. So it has to be a detailed cost management plan. Okay, and then the workplace activity number 2 says develop cost estimates for a simple to moderately complex project. Okay, so here you must develop cost estimates, obviously, which means you must research and gather cost data. So you must collect information on solar panel costs, waste management equipment, labor rates, and other relative expenses. Okay, remember the example that I'm using here is for constructing a building, so hence the reason why I'm using these examples like labor rates and other relevant expenses like solar panel costs, waste management equipment, and stuff like that. I'm giving you guys an example for a construction of a building. Okay, so another thing when it says you must develop cost estimates, another cost estimates you must use estimation techniques. So you must apply appropriate estimation techniques like analogs, paramedics, and then the bottom up to calculate the costs. Okay, and then thirdly, you can also create cost estimates. So you can develop detailed cost estimates for each project activity, considering factors like supplier codes, material costs, and labor rates as well. Okay, so for workplace activity number 2, where it says develop cost estimates for a simple to moderately complex project. Now you know that you need to develop detailed cost estimates for each project activity. Okay, so you must consider factors like supplier codes, material costs, as well as labor rates. Okay, so these are for cost estimates. Okay, and then for number 3, which is the workplace activity. But remember, guys, when you copy these questions just as they are here, like this, and then you, let's say you copy it like this, and then you paste it on whatever search engine that you prefer for getting your responses for whatever project or charter brief of your choice, you are obviously going to get the correct answers. Okay, remember, I do allow you guys to do that, to search for answers using Google or any artificial intelligence of your choice. Okay, so this is going to be relatively simple when you communicate with things like AI or Google in order to find um, uh, perfect responses to score maximum results or maximum marks for these workplace activities. Okay, so you can copy and paste whenever you feel like it, you'll still score maximum results. And then for workplace activity number 3, it says develop the project cost baseline. So here you must establish the initial approved budget for the project. Okay, and then you must allocate a portion of the budget to account for unforeseen risks. Okay, as well as you must create a formal record of the approved project cost baseline. Okay, so it's basically developing the project cost baseline. Remember that you are going to be getting the learner guide. Um, we were doing the slides together earlier on, but you are still going to be getting the learner guide on the platform, which is also very much detailed and has the information based on these topics that you are dealing with right now, like the cost baseline and so on and so forth. We've touched based on them using the slides, but the learner guide dives much deeper into these topics. So you can also look at the learner guide if you need clarity for you to be scoring maximum marks for these questions. Okay. So that is basically the workplace activities. There's only three workplace activities for lesson number 5. As you can see, it's only 4 questions for formative, summative, as well as workplace activities. Okay, and then when we go now a little bit down to our logbook, guys, please make sure that here is the date, and here we don't have a date on start, finish, and hours. There's no date there. The date is only here. So for example, today is the 26th of October. So for example, you write the 26/08/24, you write formative question 1 and 2. For example, let's say you only did those 2 questions, and then you started at 15:30 until 17:30, and then you write 2 hours where it's written total hours. So the start and finish is the start in hours. So the hours you have spent in doing those certain tasks. Okay. So for start, finish, and total hours, there is no date, it's only time. Okay. Date is only written once on a logbook, which is where it says date on this column. But if you carry on like tomorrow, which is the 27th, then you can write the date for the 27th on the box for date, so on and so forth. Okay, because I noticed that some other people they fill in the long book wrongly, and now I have to figure out and maybe even edit the logbook for them, because it's very important when we go and request for your guys certificates as well as the qualifications, because they need to see the notional hours which you guys have spent, and the reflection of those notional hours is here on the logbook. Okay, so make sure that you fill in the logbook quite correctly, so that we don't have a problem when we go and search for your guys certificates. Okay, so guys, basically we've spent an hour, I think, now on lesson number 5, and that is basically the end of lesson number 5. I don't know if there's anyone who has any question, any feedback, any input, anything that you'd like to add on. If you are all good, can I just see a thumbs up, guys? If we are still all on the same page, everything was explained properly, can I just get a thumbs up if we are all good? If obviously, thank you, Mr. Derek. Thank you, Mr. Alistair. If obviously there is a question, you may raise up your hand and then we'll give you the platform. But if we are all good, can I get a thumbs up? Thank you, Jacqueline. Okay, I think so far everyone is good, everyone is sorted. Remember that I recorded this session as well, so you can still go back to my explanations when it comes to the questions if maybe you need more clarity. I'm not sure if you guys have my numbers. Maybe you guys are gonna hit me up. Let me type my number on the chat. Maybe if there's something you need to ask, you can reach me on WhatsApp so that I can be able to assist. Okay, I've added my numbers there on the chat box. Okay, so that if ever maybe there's some clarity you need or you need me to assist with anything, you just hit me up. So thank you guys once more for taking your time to be part of this session. Uh, I'll be marking your guys' work. It's just that I had a lot of marking to do. But then, like I said, I'll be starting to mark your work this afternoon as well as tomorrow. You are going to be seeing those emails coming in when I'll be returning your work to you, so that you guys can also see how well you did. Okay. So I'll be marking that work from this afternoon as well as tomorrow morning. This week I'm actually dedicating it to marking. Last week I had a lot of classes which I had to attend to, so I didn't have much time to mark. But then you'll be getting all your work this week as well as the results. Okay, like tomorrow latest is Wednesday. but definitely tomorrow, most of you will be getting your work back. Okay, so thank you guys for taking your time to being part of this session. I hope everything went well. So we will see each other, guys, tomorrow. Tomorrow, not tomorrow. We'll see each other next time. Sorry, I'm thinking a lot, guys. So please take care and stay safe, guys. We'll talk. There's my numbers there whenever you need me. Thank you guys so much. Take care, guys.